Trying something new always excites me, and today we have the Razer ProClick V2 Vertical, which is an ergonomic mouse made for productivity and gaming, and that is just the perfect description for a product for me. If you are thinking why you need a vertical mouse, then the answer is that the way you usually use your mouse creates something called pronation in your arm, and keeping your hand like this for a long time can cause repetitive stress injuries. Once any of the joints in your body get up, it can become really painful and they heal very slowly. A mouse like this can prevent that from happening, and if you are even at the early stage of developing an RSI, then you must use something like this or it can become much worse. I have been using the MX Master 3 for years now, and it's not a vertical mouse but it still has a more tilted angle, and after using mice like these, going back to a regular mouse is just impossible because you really start noticing how bad the flat angle of using a mouse is. But as good as this mouse is, I didn't find it to be perfect for all kinds of work, so let's see if you should go for it. Using this for the first time can feel a bit weird because you're just not used to keeping your hand at this angle. It might take a few days to adjust, but once you do, it feels surprisingly natural. The 3 buttons are positioned in a very logical place, and we also have 3 extra buttons here that are placed in very easy to reach spots, and this really makes it very good for productivity and gaming, especially with its software that also supports auto switching of profiles. The scroll wheel here is decent enough, but the free spinning scroll wheel on the non-vertical version of this mouse and on the MX Master 3 is better for productivity. I am kind of okay with that because none of the other vertical mice have a free spinning wheel. You may soon learn that you don't have to grip it like this with the full contact of your palm, but you can kind of do a vertical claw grip on it with the base of your palm resting on your mousepad, and that will make it feel much more agile. The height of your desk and your chair's armrest is also going to matter a lot with this one, because when you keep your hand like this, it should also be in a good straight position and it shouldn't bend your wrist like this, because your wrist can bend easily in this direction but not in this direction. Another thing I noticed is that you do have to keep this a bit more centered than other regular mice, so using a 75% keyboard or smaller will be better than using a full-sized keyboard with this mouse. Other than that, I think that the shape is quite well designed, and this really gives your hand a very good vertical angle that is slightly tilted towards you. The thumb rest is very comfortable and thoughtfully designed, and the soft rubber material makes it feel very premium, and it is just really interesting to see Razer's approach and their aesthetics in a unique style of a mouse like this. My overall experience with this mouse has been quite positive, but not in all areas. For general desktop use like web browsing, I found it to be really good and relaxing to have my hand in this angle, but when it came to productivity tasks like video editing, I found that if your task needs a lot of precise clicks and small movements, then it might get more tiring over a long and intense session compared to my MX Master 3. You really get used to this vertical way of clicking on this mouse, but photo or video editing may require you to make 2000 or more clicks in an hour, and I found that intensity to not be suitable for me on this mouse, but this mouse may still be preferred by a video editor who has any serious issue going on with their hand. I have been using this mouse for almost 2 weeks now, so I have taken the time to adjust to this. I think if they didn't have this flat part at its base to rest your pinky finger like on the MX Master Vertical, it would have been better because this base does restrict your pinky finger and the overall freedom of your hand. Do give this video a thumbs up if you are liking it so far. Let's talk about gaming now, and for that, this mouse is actually quite usable. We have a 1000Hz polling rate on its wireless mode compared to the abysmal 125Hz on the MX Master 3, and this gives you an astronomically better experience while gaming. I will say that this is more suitable for casual single-player FPS games and not competitive games, because even if you get used to this mouse is way too heavy for competitive gaming at almost 150 grams. This mouse will still be awesome for people who have any joint issues, because they can now at least play games easily without making their situation worse. The click and sensor latency on this is super low, so at least from a performance standpoint, this is as good as the pro level mice. The sensor here is of course really good. It is 30,000 dpi and it also works on glass surfaces, which is a big feature. We also have all kinds of connectivity modes with wired, 2.4 GHz wireless and Bluetooth connectivity, so this is going to connect to all of your devices. Battery life is also very nice on this, because even after keeping the RGB on and never charging it, it has been going on, and I think that you may reach their 6-month battery life claim if you keep the RGB off. Razer Synapse software is very good and lets you easily customize different functions of the mouse. It lets you assign macros and change its lighting. As I mentioned, it has auto profile switching, which works very well, and I have no complaints in this area. These vertical mice used to be a very niche category of products, but now we have many brands that are making them. At least from a performance standpoint, this is much better than any vertical mouse that Logitech is making because the polling rate and the overall responsiveness is much better. Keychron has also released their vertical mouse recently, and it does feel less premium with a plastic build, but it is around 55 grams lighter than this, which is a big deal. I have not used that mouse and it is not built as well as this Razer mouse, but seeing the spec sheet, that looks very competitive with this, so you could also check that out. So ultimately, I will personally be going back to my MX Master 3 mouse, but the main reason for that is the free spinning wheel and the fact that I don't face any ergonomic issues while using it. After using this Razer vertical mouse for 2 weeks, if I try to use the MX Master 3 now, I can feel my hand bending at an unnatural angle and it is not as comfortable as this, but I will get used to this angle again. If you are someone who just feels that their hand is getting tired after a long day of work, the Razer ProClick V2 Vertical can be strongly recommended. For me, this was really great for general tasks, web browsing and gaming, but I didn't find it to be suitable for photo or video editing. So if it is possible for you to try this before you buy it, it will be really nice because even though it will work for a lot of people, it may also not work for some people. It is priced at $120 and it costs around 10,500 rupees in India, and that is quite steep of a price, but this is a high-end Razer mouse in a niche category, so I am totally not surprised. I'll have the links to check this out in the description. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe with bell, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.